Hey, gang, to quote the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, what do y'all want to talk about?
You are Locked On Huskers, your daily podcast on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, gang, happy Saturday. I know that we have so many opportunities and so many sleeps until Nebraska football. Lots to talk about here on Locked On Huskers. Your Huskers every day. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers the first watch and listen each and every single day, especially on a Saturday. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Mark Einweiler, let them know about Game Time.
Thank you, DP. This episode of Locked On Huskers is brought to you by Gametime. Now, if you know me, you know I love a deal and I hate paying any more than I have to. I'm always tracking down the best bargains for any event that I'm going to. Well, that hunt for tickets just got a whole lot easier thanks to Gametime. Gametime is your place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months out in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up until the day of the event. And you can get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less than what you paid, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. So snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. DP, back to you.
Last minute takes. Got to have a plan for it. Well done, well done, well done. Again, thank you for making Locked On Huskers first watch and listen each and every single day. A couple of things we want to talk about. Depth chart released. Some surprises, some interesting names in particular places on the depth chart. We'll talk about that. Matt Rhule had lots to talk about. We'll go through some of those things to point out. Black shirt announcements coming up. Lots to talk about as we head into the Saturday before. It's officially, ready for this, game week. 7 days. It's official. You're 6 days out now on Saturday. So time to prepare. Lots of things in play. And I guess for me, when Nebraska releases its depth charts, there's a couple of things that we fully expect to see. Some surprises. Some folks have elevated themselves up the depth chart, and some have, quite frankly, missed opportunity. And let's go through some of the surprises first, right? The things that we would consider, odd. And let's be clear, all of the work has already been done. And nobody is being given a spot. Everything earned. Nothing given, everything earned. So if we work from that, what we find out is that there's been some interesting off-season work being put in and some amazing work at camp. The biggest surprise for me was Alex Bullock at wide receiver. It says a lot. 6'2", 200-pounder, sophomore. Just the work that's been put in. The time put in for him to climb and clutch and climb and clutch and climb all the way up to slot number one at the wide receiver position. He was listed along with Billy Kemp IV and Isaiah Garcia Castaneda. We're not really surprised by that. We also aren't stunned by the fact that Marcus Washington is listed as 2, but that's reliability. That's trust. That's being healthy. Jay Foreman, the Husker Hall of Famer, likes to say availability is your greatest asset. Well, being available. Now, do we think that on Thursday night he will be ready? Yeah. But for the sake of the depth chart, as it's released, the official word is Billy Kemp, Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, and Alex Bullock as your receivers. Now, at the tight end position, again, some things. Circle the name that does not exist in the 2 deep, which is Arik Gilbert. Don't see it. Tight end number 1 is Nate Borkacher. We're not surprised by that because he's a guy that's been in that situation and actually walked on the field. But it is a large statement in that, Thomas Fidone is tight end number 2. All of camp long, I've been using the word trust, and I keep pointing it out that coaching is more about trust earned than talent, than numbers or other. Do coaches trust you to do a thing? Secretly, privately lurking in the news, in the depth chart is fullback. It's listed. It's actually listed. Engineering Bonner and Barrett and Liebentritt? Is that Liebentritt? Liebentritt. Thanks, Mark Onweiler. I greatly appreciate it. I'm in small print without my glasses now, but it's listed as either or. So you've got 6'2", 230-pound fullback and a 6 foot, 235-pound fullback. Now, both of them, it's listed as an or, so it just means situationally either of them could be the first one on the field. Bangers at fullback. Husker fans, pause for a second and go with me here. How quickly do you want to see a fullback on the field? What is the correct response? The only correct response for this is that on play one, there's a fullback. There's a fullback. And then can Marcus Satterfield and Matt Rhule be loyal enough to the idea and concept to not put them in there and then fake to them and then throw it to them out of the backfield? Like, it would be the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, but then we would all kind of turn our head sideways if it actually worked. But I'm just picturing Thursday, the first offensive play. Fullback shows up in the huddle. The entire state of Nebraska stands and throws confetti in the air. Like, you almost have to do it. You almost have to do it. Like, I'm just not, I don't know how you, like, they did it in the spring game. So a part of me, and then if you're PJ Fleck and the Gophers, aren't you kind of expecting it? Like, if you're the defensive coordinator for the Gophers, aren't you kind of lined up to go, they're going to line up with a fullback? Like, it's almost disrespectful to have a fullback on the roster and then not put them in the first. Like, the first play, think about it this way. The first offensive play for Matt Rhule as a Husker head coach, the very first play, which is the greatest statement about the identity of this team and the brand of the culture and the brand of the program and the mentality of being physical and tough. And isn't it 100% appropriate for them to line up in the fullback with a fullback? And then it's almost like I'm not sure he can get it right, because a part of me wants him to have not only have the fullback, but a part of me wants him to run a fullback dot. Like, a part of me wants to line him up and to go right behind Nuri and Scott, right off tackle. Two of your best, most trusted offensive linemen, side by side. If I'm going to win and set the tone that I've got Ethan Piper at right guard, Scott at center, Nuri at the other guard, and I put a fullback in the game and I run behind those three. We're going to block 3-on-2, and I'm going to just put the dive in. I just think that would be. But then a bigger part of me is like, no, that's not why I want the fullback out there. I want the fullback out there to smash somebody's face off and have Gabe Urban run right behind him off his hip and go bang his head on the goalpost. Like, if you tell me that it's really good to run behind Piper, Scott, and really, and then you ask me, is it better to use a fullback behind those three with Gabe Urban behind that? I like the latter. I like the latter. And it would be a great statement for Nebraska football and the premier offensive play, the first offensive play for Matt Rhule and Marcus Satterfield. But that's just me. We'll throw it to break. I'm sorry I went off on a tangent. But to me, I need the fullback on the field, and play one is a dive. Play two is off the fullback's tail. More Locked On Huskers when we come back. Welcome back to Locked On Huskers. My apologies. We're going to be all over the place today. Hit pause. Hit the pause button. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Greatly appreciate you. Put your comments down in the comment section. Let me know. I'll ask the question one more time. What's the ideal play? What's going to be the thing that the first play run by Matt Rhule and Marcus Satterfield and their regime here as leaders of Nebraska's offense? And to me, a fullback on the field and a dive. Mark Allenwater says, triple option. So Jeff Sims fakes it, pulls it, fakes the pitch, carries it himself up the sideline. There we go. Up the hash mark, 20-yard slide. I think you could pay the tribute and just reverse pivot. But I don't know so Husker Nation, let me know. What's the ideal first play? Go ahead and put that down. Again, the depth chart was very informative. It also listed, and I'll be clear, listed Jeff Sims as quarterback 1, and it had the or between Heinrich Harburg and Chubba Purdy. It had or, which means that either of them, depending on situation and circumstance, could be the first one off the bench and into the game. On the offensive line, it's Turner Corcoran at left tackle, Ethan Piper at left guard, Ben Scott at center, Nuri at right guard, Bryce Benhart at right tackle, and Nate Borkacher as your tight end. The backup group is just as important. And remember that Teddy Prohaska is not on the list. Well, he's on the list, but he's on the list as a third teamer because matter of trust. Would he be available and able to play and produce? He's number 3. But Gunnar Katola, the freshman from Lincoln, is listed as left tackle number 2. Sam Sledge from Omaha listed as left guard number 2. Justin Evans Jenkins from East Orange listed as the backup center. Henry Lutovsky as the backup right guard. Of course, he's from Crawfordsville, Texas. Crawfordsville, Iowa. My apologies to Iowa and for Texas, both of you. Tyler, anytime I get to take a shot at Iowa, I have to. Those are the rules. I didn't make the rules. I got here. Those are the rules. You make fun of Iowa at every opportunity. On the defensive side of the ball, having Ty Robinson, Nash Hutmacher, and Blaise Gunnerson as the first 3, but it says Blaise Gunnerson or Cam Linhart. So again, some of that would be subterfuge, some of that would be situational. We will see. With Luke Reimer, Nick Henrich, and Chief Borders or MJ Sherman. Now, in listening to Matt Rhule talk about Chief Borders, there is a certain adoration that reeks the room. It just takes over. It scents up the room. That he has affection for Chief Borders. And that's not a disrespect to MJ Sherman, but one is thunder and one is lightning. And that's the way it's portrayed. They're 2 different personalities and 2 different skill sets on the field, but they're listed as 1A and 1B. At that position, at the jack position. Quentin Newsom, Isaac Gifford, Omar Brown, Sean Singleton, and Malcolm Hartzog as the 5 in the 3-3-5. Now, that 3-3 front, those 2 middle inside linebackers and the jack linebacker give you some flexibility. And I would almost dare imagine that there's some opportunities where MJ Sherman lines up at a defensive end and Chief Borders lines up at a linebacker. All of that's possible. The only other real head scratcher, and again, you list Dwight Boodle as a number as cornerback number 2. Corey Collier Jr. is a backup safety. Kobe Brett's making his presence known at safety, and then at Rover with Phelan Sanford, Tommy Hill is the backup quarterback. Javen Wright is listed as the backup linebacker to Nick Henrich. Not at Rover, not at Jack, at the other linebacker. That's a slight surprise to me anyway. And then Jamari Butler is listed as the 3rd jack behind Chief Borders and MJ Sherman. Now, I would fully imagine that fully healthy, they all get on the field and they all represent quality moments on the field. I think that's going to happen. But it's interesting how it lays out, and it shows that there is depth at the position, but there's also still questions at the position. The or entitles us to ask more questions. And then one final, two final things in it that Tristan Alvarez, the kicker from Omaha, was listed as 1A, 1B with Tommy Bleekrode at the place kicker. Now, I would think that some of that's distance, some of that's accuracy short, but it's an or. It's not one of them. It's or. With Bushimi as the punter, Billy Kemp as the punt returner, and Emmett Johnson and Ramir Johnson back as the kick returner. So, again, a lot of information put into this. And, again, you can tell the state of the union by the number of questions you have. We have more answers today, which means fewer questions. So we now have a plan. But throughout the course of his presser, Matt Rhule gave some very interesting comments to the press about different players and different mindset and how things break down. So in the final segment of this episode, we'll go over some of the things that Matt Rhule talked about. And then a reminder that the black shirt announcements will happen Sunday. And probably by the time this airs, it'll be after this airs, where the final 3 single-digit jerseys will be issued and handed out. So follow social media to get that information. But that's where we are at the time of recording. They have not been announced yet. So there's that. We'll throw it a break. We'll come back. More Matt Rhule commentary, things said, and things to know here on Locked On Huskers. Hey, gang, again, DP here. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day. Your Huskers every day. That's what we're here for, to cover you through, and it is officially in that final week of trying to get things done to prepare yourselves to beat Minnesota. And Matt Rhule had the opportunity to share some information as well that, they're going to hand out the black shirts starting on Sunday. He was asked about the benefits of starting the first 2 weeks on the road, and he said, let me say this carefully. I cannot wait to be at home in front of our fans and experience that. That will be like a bucket list item for me and my family. I've never coached in an environment like that as my home environment with that many people, so I can't wait for it. That being said, I love to be on the road. I love being on the road. I love being in a hotel. I'm going to make sure that I love being at home. And I want to say that to his wife. I want you to know I love being at home. I love being a dad, but I love being on the elevator. I love going down the elevator as a team. I love going to see the movie with the gang. Going to some ugly locker room and trying to figure out where my locker is and walking out on the field. It's interesting to pay attention to what the little things that make coaching active. He did dive into an interesting pool. He said on increased anti-gambling efforts. He goes, obviously, we presented to them, the athletic department presented it to them. The conference is doing some things that now which will allow you to provide some resources. When I was playing, obviously there was still an issue, and you couldn't gamble. Way back at Penn State, you had guys that probably still got involved in it. All college kids did it. It's just everywhere now. It is a thing. And in the Big Ten Conference, they are talking about it. So the fact that he's bringing this thing into play, it's good to set some flag in the ground about where you stand and that you're paying attention to it. On Arik Gilbert's waiver, it's still in progress. We're hoping that before we head to Minnesota, we'll have a little more finality on it. There have obviously been some twists and turns and things going back and forth. And out of respect for Arik, I have not really broadcasted all of these different things. But we're still looking for some finality, and everybody is working hard to get it done. So we hope that there's some news there. On Marcus Buford. So the big thing with him, with us, because this is his second time having a major injury, we just did not want to rush him back. We kind of communicated with the family and him early on. Hey, where we're going to put you in and what you're ready for, but not a day too early. According to the doctors, had a significant jump this past week, and so he's hopefully communicating back and forth, and he hoped that there is progress. So keep your eyes forward and paying attention to the news on Marcus Buford Jr. As we go through. Finally, with this, Thursday is opening day. It's a big week. Let's spend the next few days gathering positive energy and positive thoughts. Next week on Locked On Huskers, I'll have some former Huskers take us through the walkthrough and the preparation and what it means 2 days before a game, 3 days before a game, and then the night before a game. What could possibly be going through the minds of the players? What could possibly be going through the minds of coaches? And then for the fans, just to give you some last notes and some last details of what to expect, and then how we plan to respond. We don't know who this Husker team is. We're finding out more, but we still won't know until they get to Minneapolis and battle it out. It's a big week here in Lincoln. It's a big week for Husker Nation. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day. Football season is here. So let's practice it together. Those 3 words we love so much. Go Big Red.